So the politically correct answer is there is no normal. Whatever you think is normal, that's the politically correct answer. But if you were living a life as a single person, then this is fine. Whatever I want is I am love. Okay. But because you are living life with someone and your sexual satisfaction as a couple is dependent on each other. So one way of defining it would be if both of you are having a similar level of desire, then it's fine. Okay. Now, if I can just give you an average, then most couples who are not fighting and who are not otherwise having any sexual problem and who are during the reproductive age group of sexually active life, then I would expect intimacy to take place at least twice a week. When the marriage is there, then probably maybe 4-5 times a week. And later on, probably when both of them excitement has decreased a bit, maybe around roughly 2 times a week. So if it is less than that, and if one of the partner wants it, then the other partner might want to explore. Should he or she work on it? I know sexual dysfunction, we don't need to know what doctors call sexual dysfunction. What I would say is that if I am not having a satisfactory sexual life, that is good enough sexual dysfunction. So we can understand sexual dysfunctions as broadly of four types. So one is if there is a problem with sexual desire, one is not feeling the desire to have sex or to get intimate with someone. Second is the desire is there, but arousal is not there. So you are trying to get aroused, but the physical signs of arousal are not coming and your body is not feeling up like doing it. Third is orgasm problem. So some people are able to engage well, but they seem to be feeling कि वो climax क्या है? I am never experiencing what that climax is. And finally, there is pain. So a lot of women experience pain during intercourse, and then there are some women who are so excited about doing it, and these other women feel कि how can someone like something which is so painful? Now, because they have always experienced it as a painful thing, they believe it is supposed to be painful. But it is nice for women to know in the normal course of things, sex is not supposed to be painful. So these are broadly the four types of disorders which can take place. In women, if we go to see low sexual desire and pain during intercourse, these are the two most common complaints which they deal with.
Okay, so let's then first speak about low sexual desire. So what do we mean by low sexual desire, and can you tell us sort of what causes this in women?
Right. So there is no fixed definition as to how much desire one should have and one should not have. So I would say that if in comparison to what your partner would want, if comparatively your desire is low, that doesn't mean always you have to match up to him or her, but relatively it is low. And if it is low, then he would not be satisfied with life. So it is nice to explore. Okay, is there any reason behind why I am relatively feeling a low desire? And of course, if someone has never felt it, if for a month together someone doesn't get a desire, then of course it is a low sexual desire. Now, what are the common causes of low sexual desire? Is see, India, everyone wants to play cricket. The desire in males, the desire to play cricket is very high. The desire to play football is very low, relatively. The desire to play badminton would be relatively still low, relatively. That doesn't mean badminton is not a good sport or enjoyable sport, but the messages which a child receives about this particular sport decides how intensely he wants a particular thing. All this glamour world, the hero, more than hero, the number of times he has heard positively about the hero or the heroine makes him want to see the film. Now, similarly, if a woman has heard about sex, man, wow, I enjoy it, wow, it's such a great thing, it is, wonderful to do it. If she has heard messages like this, then she would be waiting, when should I do it? When should I experience it? But if the messages she had heard is, कि ये गंदी बात है, good girls don't talk to boys, we shouldn't be doing it, it's a sin, God wants you to do it. So especially those who are from very religious backgrounds, including me. So when I was growing up, I used to believe that sex is something which wastes your energy, which could have otherwise been utilized in a very constructive purpose. So when we grow up with these thoughts, we believe it is something which should be restricted to the minimum. So Indian culture, we believe there are 6 enemies of the mind: Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Mad, Moh, right? All that. And sex is one of those enemies of the mind which we have to learn to curb. So by and large, culturally, religiously speaking, we get a lot of negative messages about sex. And that is one of the reasons why the subconscious is programmed to believe that this is not something too good. To believe so, more the religious background, higher the probability that the desire will be low. One. Second, child sexual abuse or any type of molestation experience in the past. Anytime, be it while a person is a child or when she is a grown-up person. can really make the mind start believing that this is a very bad thing. That guy did this to me. So this can create negativity about sexuality as well as about men. Men are not good people. So which again decreases the desire. And the third, relative to this very common thing which I've seen is masturbation is something which comes very naturally to people. We have our head, nose, legs, and similarly, genitalia is also a part of the body. So when a child is growing up, the child doesn't know I'm not supposed to touch the genitalia. This is the bad thing. Naturally, they end up touching it. And when they end up touching it, it feels good. And when it feels good, they do it more. And then when an adult sees it, he's like, she, itni gandi bachchi hai. And she's like, what did I do? And such a negative conditioning about masturbation can also make the person really feel very guilty about what she has done. And all these kinds of negative experiences can result in low sexual desire. So this is the most common thing. One is a negative attitude towards sexuality created by all these things. The another common cause of low sexual desire can be if there is a strain between me and my partner. So if we are emotionally bonded, then I want to be with him more. If we are not emotionally bonded and if I'm feeling angry at him, then I don't want to go near him. So relatively, if the relationship is not working well, that can also decrease the desire. Another common reason is in today's age and era when women are trying to juggle between the job and house and this and that, they get so exhausted by the end of the day. They don't have the desire to do anything, including sex. Right? So, and lastly, if a person is sad because of any stress which is going on in his life, so in his or her life. So, yeah, I'm sad. And then again, I don't want to do anything. Menopause would again be a very common reason why after a particular age, many women may not experience as much desire. And lastly, if there are some medicines which are going on, etc. So miscellaneous causes are there, but the predominant causes would be a negative attitude towards it or a relationship or stress in life. So these are the common causes. So I will just summarize. So the question is, how do I let go of the sexual aversion or the negative attitude in my mind, right? Is that the question?
Yes.
So I would say, unfortunately, all the psychological programming are not easy to take off. For example, let me talk of a non-sexual thing first. I have stammering. Now, I've been working, I'm a psychiatrist. I understand what it is. I understand that my tongue is normal. But even after 10 years, I still stammer a bit. So it may have decreased significantly, but I still stammer. So unfortunately, psychological conditionings take some time to go. They don't go in a day. However, they don't take eons either. Okay? It just requires some amount of systematic addressing the beliefs why they were there and thinking in a constructive way. So the two things which can be done are, one is take counseling, it helps. So it's like, so many a times, because we are so sensitive about the topic, we don't even look openly at it. When we feel safe to look at all the painful, let's say if someone has child sexual abuse, then logically speaking, it is quite clear, right? That the person who did the abuse was the wrong person and nothing wrong I have done. And because of that episode, my ability to enjoy sex or to give sexual joy to my partner has not decreased in any way. And there is no reason for me to feel dirty or inferior or anything. But culturally, that's the message in my mind. And when I openly look at it, my mind itself is convinced, yeah, so what it happened? Big deal. But we don't even look at it. So when
Yeah.
in the safe environment of the therapy, you are able to look back at those episodes of your life and take a fresh perspective at them and reprogram your mind. So that happens. So usually it is not something which you can just talk and go away. If there has been some significant episode in your life, it would be better and faster if you take help from a therapist. Therapist is a psychologist or a psychiatrist or any person who calls himself a sexologist. So person who is a gynec or a urologist, they may also have trained themselves into counseling because they are practicing sexology. So to any such people you can go. There is one. I had heard a TED talk by someone called as Pam Costa. I would encourage you guys to see the TED talk. So she came up with a thing. She herself was dealing with low sexual desire. And then when she went to a sex coach and she experienced a new thing, and then she did an experiment. On every month, she would meet with her friends on a Sunday and they would discuss about their sexual life. And when they kept doing it for around 12 months, all of them experienced that all of them were having more satisfied sexual lives. So what I want to tell is, it just start speaking. Just start speaking with your friends and colleagues about the sexual life. So also, first, when you are comfortable in talking with your female colleagues about your sexual life, so or about your views on sexuality, then that will make you more comfortable in approaching this topic with your partner also. Right? So start speaking up on it on your own also, and that may also many a times solve it. And if you believe that's not solving, take it.